I've got a large collection of arcade games. I wonder how much it would cost to complete all of them if it was a real arcade. Only one way to find out. In one of the most recent Justice League Legacy updates, ZVTOR added a AVP mode based off the arcade game of the same title. It got me thinking about it, I wanted to play it again, so here it is. Originally a tie-in with a now scrapped AVP movie, the Capcom arcade title now stands alone as a non-canonical entry. Up to 3 players can fight back against the Xeno invasion by beating and shooting the shit out of them. Both the attraction sequence and the beginning cutscene start with 2 Marines cornered and fighting back a horde of Xenos until 3 Predators save them and rip off the Terminator quote. Then you get to choose from one of 4 characters to play as: a Predator Warrior, a Predator Hunter, Lieutenant Lynn Kurosawa, and Major Dutch Schaefer. That's right, you can play as the Austrian icon with a Rob Layfield makeover. With characters selected, round 1 begins. Capcom used to be masters of beat-em-ups because of their comfortable fighting systems that varied from game to game. Immediately the game felt natural and you instantly knew how the basics worked. An 8-way stick for movement and 3 buttons that let you attack, jump, or shoot. Then you see how this game varies from other titles. Kurosawa and both the Predators carry a weapon that will increase damage and alter their movesets. Kurosawa a katana, the Hunter a spear, and the Warrior a naginata. These weapons can be dropped when you take damage and you may lose them if you're not careful. Retrieving them is as simple as picking them up, but other players can pick up your weapon, and while they are able to hold it, they don't use it in the same way. Picking up another character's personal weapon will limit your attacks to a throw, unless you're playing as Dutch, who limits his attack to a bonk. At least when it comes to personal melee weapons. Personal guns are a different story. These weapons can't be dropped and are used by pressing the shoot button. Kurosawa has a full automatic pistol, Dutch a smart gun in his cyborg arm, and both of the Preds get the iconic shoulder cannon, which, in all honesty, is miles better than the pea shooters the Marines get. All of the guns do have a use and they also have unlimited ammo, but need to be given time to cool down if they are overused. As you may have guessed, inputs can be combined or used in certain situations to perform new moves. Using all of these functions, we beat our way through some Xenos before getting a quote-unquote demonstration, or more accurately, a cutscene. Oh god, what the fuck? Okay, well, the cutscenes shouldn't be that fast. During a demonstration, pushing any button speeds the cutscene up, but if you want to know what happens here, your characters flee into a nearby structure as there are, quote, too many enemies at once. Clearly. Inside a warehouse where it is too dark, the Predators, who by the way should have different vision modes in their helmet, can't see anything. They turn the light on and kill it with fire! This pulsing ball of yuck is in fact a chrysalis, the first boss of the game. The level structures are the tried and true simple method of punch enemies in the faces, move to the next area, and then punch a boss's face at the end to get extra points. Going against arcade tradition, this first boss is actually pretty easy. It doesn't use any cheap tricks like interrupting attacks, it has a reasonable amount of health and you can get full combos off on it. It feels like a regular enemy that just has a huge life bar. After making the chrysalis our bitch with many violent pokes, the player who gets the final strike gets extra bonus points and celebrates with a victory pose. The Hunter Predator bows in respect as the Warrior shows off his codpiece. A cutscene plays of Dutch advising the team to escape via the sewers. Wait, hold on a second here. Am I the only one that thinks that arm looks like there's a Squirtle hiding under his skin? The 2 Predators entered the sewers and found out it was unusually quiet. One jumped up and didn't bump it. Oh dear god. Commence violence! Now at this point, more weapons begin to drop, and these can be used by anyone in the same fashion. Ever wanted to see a Predator fire the Marine battle rifle? Well now you will, along with pipes, the smart gun, grenade launchers, knives, hand grenades, and the Predator's deadly frisbee. Like before, every character with the exception of Dutch throws the melee weapons and the firearms can be fired until they're empty, assuming of course you don't drop them by taking damage. The battle rifle, which also features its iconic firing sound, and the smart gun are okay. They have decent strength, but fire in a straight line and feel worse than the personal gun that all the characters use. Really, this is meant to knock over an enemy instead of hurt them. The grenades and the grenade launcher are slightly weaker than the shoulder cannon, but only because it fires in a straight line, but it does share the same damage and blast radius of said cannon. As is tradition, you can pick up items for points, which are things like gems? I don't know where this has come from. And since it's Capcom, your health items are either medkits or food. And in particular, junk food, like cans of pop, sub sandwiches, cheeseburgers, pizza, and so on. The idea of these predators eating all this human junk food makes me think of that one Archie comic cover. Now, one of, if not the favourite of any player of this game when it comes to pickups will be the clip. Once picked up, your gun bar is unlimited for 10 seconds and you can do a mass exterminatus that would be a war crime if it was committed on humans. With this newly discovered fun with guns, you get to violently express it on the round 2 boss, a Razor Claw. Like the Chrysalis, this also relies on ad spam. The Razor Claw is also slightly harder to fight. It has a charge attack that has the potential to be used on you while it is off screen, and it uses cheap tactics like attacking you until it lands a hit, even if you're on the ground. It's still easily beatable though, especially if you keep laying into it with the clip power-ups and utilising the jumping anime fight moves. A cutscene shows the hunter pointing out a nest, and the team decide to launch an assault on it, while one of them suddenly learns how to float. Thus begins round 3. We get a break from the fisticuff fighting as we ride on an APC in a short level, which also doubles as its own boss fight. With unlimited ammo, you blast away at all the aliens trying to jump at you. Hidden in this... What is the collection for xenomorphs? A herd? A horde? A pride? No. Wait. They're a large group that follows a queen and carries out their orders without question to please her? Simps! Hidden in the simp of Xenos is an arachnoid, who looks a little bit like Razorclaw Jr. Nothing special about it, just a regular enemy with a higher health bar. Once you land the killing shot, the victory pose is done, the round is over, and then the start of round 4 sees us starting an assault on the Hive before eventually getting to the Queen. As we arrive at the Hive entrance, the eerie and unnatural walls succeed in giving you a slight sense of unease. In fact, graphically, the game is very impressive and a delight to view. The characters and enemies, while minimal in movement or strange to look at in the cutscenes, are well animated in both those and the gameplay, with a nice touch adding fatal wounds on some enemies. The movements are fluid and you may not be able to see it here, but they translate to 60 FPS very well. The backgrounds of the human environments are well decorated even down to the smallest detail, be it rust on a metal floor, scuff marks on the APC, or small animated aspects to give the impression of a living world, with the theme of danger and destruction present in all of them. The real show stealer when it comes to the backgrounds, however, is of course the H.R. Geiger inspired artwork. Credited as the visual designer of the Xenos, it's only natural that his art would appear here. From the colours, the shading, the shapes, the style, all of his surreal and abnormal creations is expertly recreated and adapted with the limited capabilities of the gaming tech. My only real irk with the graphics is a small one, and it's something that's always bothered me, but it doesn't get in the way of gameplay at all. Dutch's arm changes size depending on which direction he's facing. It's always been a pet peeve of mine, but like I say, it doesn't affect the game in any way. Another irk I have now that I think about it is that this awesome looking nest doesn't last very long. As you travel further in, which is probably about maybe the first third, maybe a quarter at least, of the stage, you transition into another human looking area, which doesn't make sense, seeing as how we're supposed to be in a hive, and then you get a little bit further and find a bunch of eggs. Yeah, this is meant to be deep in the hive, why are we just walking through a factory? All of a sudden. We let loose on the eggs, cracking them open like Easter eggs. Wait, hang on a second. Oh my god, you can actually get a chocolate Xeno egg. I want one. Guarding her eggs like the deadliest mother hen is the bitch herself, with bitch being the perfect term. Unlike the last few bosses, she is held in place by the egg sac and attacks you while stationary, but no matter what range you are, she's got something for the situation. Her avatar gives the impression that she's been split in two, with her mouth and tail acting independently, and attacking you when you enter within their range. Her maw will take bites at you if you're too close. If you are able to avoid that, then her tail will hit you instead, which also means that pincer attacks are even harder to pull off. If you decide to keep her at a distance, she'll spit acid at you. She is a harsh difficulty spike compared to the last 3 bosses we just faced, as you will struggle to get close to her without even getting hurt once. It is possible to get a kind of blind spot, where careful footing and luck will keep you out of harm's way while you use her pelvis like a speed bag. Occasionally, she calls in some simps to help, but they're easily dispatched, and more pelvic pummeling later will see her, loaf in the air before she lies defeated. Oh cool, that looks like an album cover. Round 5 starts off with you exiting a temple? Where did this come from? It looked like a military factory a minute ago. Team sees a ship crash nearby and decide to check it out. But this time, our enemy is man. Me. And to be honest, it's a bit of a welcome addition. Looking at just the Xenos, we've had a so-so amount of enemy variety. The visual aspects do alter a little, be it in colour or physical appearance. On the other hand, their fighting moves are all too similar, with each of the aliens having moves along the lines of punch and one unique move. You'd think drones are the first alien you encounter. Well, you may be surprised to learn that drones aren't even in the game. Or at least in name they're not. Instead, the warrior Xenos take their place as the standard cannon fodder, who come in small groups but are fun as hell to tear through. There's also stalkers, who might be the drones, are weaker but have a lunge attack they love to abuse the fuck out of off screen. Arachnoids, when not a boss, are just warriors with more health and share the same attack set. Defenders are warriors that can block, chargers ram into you and knock you down with an ever so gentle nudge, but not before they bust a move. Bigger ones like the Royal Guard and the Chrysalis stand out more, as they look more intimidating than their fellow simp members, but still have a limited move set. Guards spit acid, the Razor Claw bounces around with an extended reach and punches a lot, and the Chrysalis has a sonic spin. As you go deeper into the nest, chestbursters and facehuggers appear and will jump on you to initiate a grapple for damage. They feel like fighting Oddjob and GoldenEye, as their size makes them hard to hit without explosives or an AoE. Zombies! Yeah, zombies make an appearance too. Well, more like a husk that's being controlled by chestbursters. Killing a zombie means that said chestburster will eject and try and kill you itself. Now by comparison, the humans hardly feel like a threat. Even the ones with guns don't make you cautious because they don't use their guns much and the bullets move so slow you can avoid them easily. Regardless as to who you fight, all the enemies do a fuck ton of damage and you can die in about 5 hits at most. So don't underestimate anyone, even pathetic humans. After cutting through the human scum, we hide behind some trees and see a leader barking orders. However, one player then spots the fact that they are in fact Marines from Weyland-Yutani. Oh, who'd have fucking guessed? Using a large amount of guns to make America jealous, we Call of Duty our way further into the jungle and catch up to the leader, who keeps pointing at our head and then dick, and then sets a power loader on you. Now the power loader actually puts up a good fight. It's got a flamethrower, charge attack and a lunge which you can avoid if you take the time to read what he's doing. Although he can be knocked down, it takes a fair number of hits to do it, and he doesn't flinch, so there is every chance that he could interrupt your combo and stop him being knocked over. So short combos, followed by hasty retreats, will preserve your health. Once you dismantle him, it's on to round 6. Once again, you're using the APC to ram your way through the wall of the officer's base to start a raid. Now, I am not an action hero, and I am definitely not a military expert. But I feel like that if you're going to ram into a wall with an armoured vehicle, maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea to sit inside the armoured vehicle. Fighting through a bunch of Marines, you end up on a lift that begins to malfunction. Acting like a Street Fighter-esque minigame, you need to destroy the control box before the timer runs out, which actually was easier than we thought. We celebrate by displaying our cod pieces and enter the Xeno Labs. I feel like I have to mention here that because of the increased amount of gun usage, I noticed just how well the sound design adds a lot to emphasize the fights. The music is constantly portraying a mixture of dread and action, flipping between which one it favors more in every track to suit the situation.
I got it.
The sound effects include the most recognizable ones in fighting games like punching squeaky soap, but most of them sound unique to the game. The one that does make me smile is the previously mentioned assault rifle sound effect from the films. Fighting through the initial guards, there's a loud scream behind us, and we find out that a bunch of Xenos they have in captivity have managed to break free, and then we have to fight them. Once again, the sound design sticks out from the noises that the aliens make when they die or take damage, each sound fitting the actual alien and not just generic or stock. While the sounds are great, I wish that Dutch made some sort of Schwarzenegger scream when firing his gun, or at the very least that LOW noise. In fact, Arnie's Predator roar would have been great here, as this stage's boss is a pair of predators. Sharing some similarities to the final fight boss Relento, a love of explosives, dashing around the stage, dive attacks and input reading teleportation with the additional ability of turning invisible makes this a frustrating credit-munching fight. After defeating them, it turns out these predators were being used as subjects for a Xeno capable of mind control. With their honour insulted, the Preds and Marines begin round 7, the longest and final stage. As is an all too common trope, the final level is dominantly a gauntlet of all the enemies and bosses you fought before, meaning you'll have to use every move available to defeat them all. Each of the characters does have a unique set of moves to them. Kurosawa is very ninja-like with a lot of speed and fancy moves like air grapples and Goomba stomps. Dutch is a complete contrast, using slower power-based moves and uses a charge attack. He's also capable of powerbombing and RKOing his enemies. But both of these characters pale in comparison to the Predators, both of whom are agile, strong, and with a superior firearm. They feel much better to handle and fight with. The Hunter alters slightly to the Warrior as he has a slower recovery time in his attacks, but has the best diving attack. The Warrior, on the other hand, is described by the wiki as a well-balanced and powerful character with no weaknesses. He boasts excellent reach, damage, priority in all of his attacks. And to be honest, it shows. He fights with moves similar to his clan brother and excels in everything he does in a fight. After this both non-anesthetic bloody fight, you corner the officer on his ship's command deck. He sends out a bunch of goons, and upon defeating them, it looks like we're about to have a showdown with him. Until... going out with less dignity than Bishop, the Queen is back to act as the final boss. And she's still a bitch. She now has the ability to move, and once again, she is split down the middle, so no matter where you attack her, she will get you with either her tail, mouth, claws, charge attack, or her grappling bite. What makes it worse is that she has a really high defense, means that she shrugs off any attacks you do and won't even flinch, even during the grapple. So looking for an opening to get any melee hits in won't change anything. Thinking about attacking from range? Yeah, that works until she calls in her Sims to defend her. After she takes enough damage, she takes to the rafters and will try and impale you with a tail strike. More enemies will get called in during this time to try and keep you still long enough for her to do it. It's clear that this fight was designed to be a milker, with the fight relying on hards for the sake of it being hard instead of it being tough. But when you have a wallet full of hypothetical money, it doesn't matter how much shit she throws at you, you'll come out on top in the end. You stand proud on the Queen's corpse as your final points are tallied, and you set the ship on a crash course with the alien hive, escape, and watch your handiwork in action. The Predators hand over a trophy in respect, but implied that they'll be back to hunt Kurosawa and Dutch in the future. So Alien vs Predator is a great beat 'em up from Capcom's golden years. It's gorgeous visually, fantastic audibly, and just great to play all around. An absolute marvel. True that the difficulty spikes during the bosses are harsh when it comes to them, but the overall increase is fair, steady, and climbs at a reasonable pace. While it's a shame not much else came out of it, it wasn't entirely forgotten. You can get figurines of Kurosawa and Dutch from the game, and Kurosawa eventually became the inspiration for Street Fighter's Ibuki. Kurosawa herself also makes the occasional Easter egg appearance. Anyway, great game, would highly recommend to anyone who loves a good beat 'em up. Just be sure to bring a lot of money to cover your character's health insurance. How much exactly? Let's take a tally. At £1 a credit, 2 players using 20 continues between them results in £20 and 20 credits used. 50p cheaper than the Aliens arcade game, and matching with Chase HQ. As for the grand totals, we now have 1,289 credits used, and £1,082.50 in spent theoretical total. And that was Alien vs Predator. Join me next time where I'll be playing not a rail shooter, but a rail slasher.